Guys, this one trick, this one thing that every single hunter should know after watching this video will increase your overall DPS throughout a raid, which is going to be a big thing in tier 5 content and moving on, by hundreds, literal hundreds. Outside of DST, this might be the biggest single DPS increase for yourself as a hunter than anything else in the game. Now, if you're playing hunter or any sort of pet class, think about this for a second. What's the most frustrating thing that can happen in the game? It's probably honestly having your pet die. There's so many times where in the middle of a fight, your pet will die. The tank might not even notice that he's tanking a boss where pets are stuck in like fire or any sort of AoE damage. And there's a lot of fights in SSC and TK where mobs will actually whirlwind and they'll actually kill your pet in almost one global. And it's really, really annoying. You then have to take all of the time to cast revive on your pet. You need to get it fed again. You need to rebuff it with scrolls, and you also need to ask pretty much everyone in your raid to fully rebuff your pet, which is going to be a massive DPS loss, not only on just single target fights if this happens on like a raid boss, but overall throughout the raid, this is a huge DPS loss. So how do we stop that from happening? How do we go about making sure that you never, ever lose your pet ever again? Okay, so in game, I'm on the PTR to show you guys this, that there's a few different tricks you can really use to make sure that your pet will stay basically alive. But there's one best trick, and we will get to that in a second. But the initial thing that you've probably been using so far, which isn't really a secret at all, is using basically pet passive. So your pet's in and attacking, and the slowest way to get your pet back would be to have follow keybound. Now this seems like it's efficient, but it is almost always extremely slow, and your pet kind of like sits there for a while before they come back. And in TBC itself, there's no way to send your pet at your cursor, so that's like the best thing you really have is the pet follow. Well, actually, something that's a lot faster would be pet passive. So you send in your pet and then use /pet passive. It's a macro that basically makes your pet instantly come back to you. Now, let me just show you what the macro looks like. And it is right here, literally just pet passive. That's all you need, and just bind it to whatever is very comfortable for you. A lot of people use scroll wheel forward for pet attack and scroll wheel back for pet passive. I really wouldn't suggest having pet attack bound in with whatever your steady shot macro is, because there's going to be a lot of mobs in SSC and TK in tier 5 content where you'll actually be fighting a mob over here and you yourself will be actually DPSing this while you want your pet over on a different mob. So you could even do at mouse over, but I think that just targeting it and sending your pet feels like the easiest way to do it. You could even have 2 macros there, but you do want your pet over on another mob so that it won't actually die a lot of the times, and you can keep your buffs up from having a kill command rolling. In SSC and TK, and even in other situations, your pet will still die if you're doing this. And that's not necessarily saying that your pet is slow getting back. It just honestly means that a lot of mobs will do so much damage so fast that your pet won't even be able to get out. That happens a lot in SSC and TK in the next content. And then there's also situations like the lurker below or on Alar, where even if you withdraw your pet, it can't make it back to you and you'll die. Or on the lurker below, pet programming is really terrible. So if you jump in the water, then all of a sudden your pet will stay in the water, or your pet might actually stay in the water damage near the boss. There's one kind of mitigation thing you can do for that, which is using pet stay. So then on a boss like lurker below, you can put pet stay in a good position and then send your pet in to attack the boss. And when you recall your pet on pet passive, it goes back to the stay position. This is something that I feel like for some reason a lot of hunters don't actually know about yet, but that is a really useful way of having your pet always kind of go back to a safe position. It doesn't come back to you, it goes back to your stay position. But the best way to deal with never, ever losing your pet and never ever having to rebuff your pet is using an engineering item from Classic that requires 275 engineering, and that is the Steam Tonk Controller. This basically is a vanity item that literally summons a tank that you control so that you can run around and control. So if you use it, you can see that I am now this Steam Tonk, and I have little abilities, but they're basically don't matter. My pet instantly despawned, guys. So what you do here then is you can press escape to exit, but what you do is you get an aura when you're controlling this. You get an aura. So you have to macro cancel aura. Let me go to it right here. So use Steam Tonk Controller and cancel aura Steam Tonk Controller. That simple. And I'll have this macro linked in the description. And it is legitimately that simple. When you resummon your pet, it is full HP. It doesn't matter how low it was. You can stop and save your pet instantly, even if it's at 1 HP. You can fully save your pet just by using this. And this will legitimately be the biggest DPS gain increase in the entire game from one item for you overall, outside of maybe DST. This thing, this little trick, and I really hope it doesn't get nerfed, will instantly save your pet, and you won't have to spend time reviving your pet. You won't have to spend time rebuffing your pet. Reviving your pet also costs a lot of mana. You don't really have to worry about healing your pet, even though tier 5 2-piece actually will let your pet be healed a little bit. But look at my pet right now, and I will instantly despawn it. Boom, instantly despawned. Now I can summon my pet back, and it is at full HP. It doesn't matter how low it is, it will be back at full HP, and I can send it back in. By the way, guys, one more crazy thing about this that I didn't even notice at first, and someone on my stream mentioned it to me, is you don't even need engineering on that character to be able to use this. You just need to have someone that's an engineer make them. They are bind on use. You can even buy them off the auction house. So you don't even need to level engineering for this. That is insane. So to make this item, all you need is your engineering at 275, and then you're actually gonna go, if you're Horde, in Orgrimmar, and if you're Alliance, I believe it's Stormwind, to your normal engineering trainer, and you're just gonna go to the engineering supply trainer, and this is a limited recipe. So you can just go in here and grab it. You can see that he only has one, right? This recipe is bind on pickup, so it should be really easy to get. There's not people sitting there farming this recipe and selling it. It should actually be very, very easy to get for everyone. And once you know it, it is an easy item to make. 3 mithril bars, 1 gold power core. That's it. That's all it costs. And you get 50 charges. And within a normal SSC and TK raid, if you're doing it really fast, you're probably running through about 25 plus charges of this just to make sure your pet doesn't die. All right, guys, that is all. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I will have a ton more content on tier 5 coming very soon, as well as a ton of content on hunters, because I honestly think it's probably the most intricate class in all of TBC. It is a class that everyone can actually realize takes a ton of micromanagement to actually play at the best level. Anyways, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Please share this with your friends. If there's another item that does the same thing, please let me know in the comments. But I really hope that every hunter in the game actually uses this item, because it is huge. It's actually unreal how good this is. And if you're not using this, you're fully griefing yourself and you're fully griefing your raid. If you're actually going into TK and SSC, and you're going to notice it very quickly, your pets are going to die all the time, no matter what you do, if you don't use this. So all I gotta say is, if you're in a raid and you end up having to rebuff a hunter pet many times, like upwards of 10, sometimes 20, 30, it's kind of crazy how fast they can die, then you should actually show them this video. Thank you guys for watching. Again, make sure to like and subscribe if you like this sort of content, and I'll see you all on the next one.